Have you had a chance to think from a fan's perspective about what Yankees Dodgers are all about?
Maybe a little bit, and in some ways, you know, you've always I've always had that sense being here that there's that underlying craving for that. Even going back, the seven years now that I've been here. There's always been that occasional talk about Yankees Dodgers. So I think it's great. Um, I grew up. uh with my dad, in the 70s and 80s playing for the Phillies, who won a bunch of Eastern Division championships, and the Dodgers sent them home in back-to-back championship series years. And um, so, and obviously with the right to play the Yankees in the Fall Classic. So that's right in my wheelhouse, those teams and those days. So it's definitely meaningful to me and not lost upon me. Um, but I look, I think it's going to be. I'm looking forward to all of it. The stars will be out, the eyeballs will be watching, and hopefully we can deliver on a great series.
Gary Phillips, go ahead.
Hey, Aaron, thanks for taking the time. Just to follow up on that, is there any difference in feeling for you getting to this point as a manager opposed to when you did it as a player?
Um, Tough to say. It's a grind either way. Going through the playoffs and first of all the season and the excitement of getting to the playoffs and advancing round after round. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of similarities just in that, you know, you feel the weight of it, um, the excitement of it, the pressure of it. Um, but again, I'm not playing between the lines anymore, so there's that difference. But you're still competing uh, on the biggest stage at the highest level against the best, and there's something that's rewarding and why you do it element to that.
Is there anything you're able to take from your playing experience making it to the World Series and the lead up to it that is applicable now as you're preparing?
I don't know. I think your experience, hopefully serves you well in everything you do and just makes you more equipped and to deal with all that's going to come with it. But I don't know if there's necessarily anything I specifically take from getting to the World Series 21 years ago as a player that I'm necessarily going to apply today, but I think I'm a product of my experiences to some degree.
Does it feel like it's been that long?
Yeah, it feels like a long time ago.
Thanks, Aaron.
Yep.
Here, go ahead on mute. Okay. Looks like maybe you're borrowing Brendan Cuddy's computer.
Yeah.
Reed, oh, go ahead. Peter, you there?
Okay. Yeah. It looks like it unmuted. Thank you. Hi, Aaron. A bit of a follow-up to Bruce's question. Just I guess what stands out to you the most about the history of this Yankees-Dodgers rivalry, and what does it mean to you to now be a part of it?
I think Reggie hitting homers and leaning into the ball and on the base pass and the rundown, and Tommy Lasorda coming out and the sound of all that, and Tommy Lasorda going to the mound and hooking the guy. But just some legendary teams, right? With Reggie and Thurman Munson and on and on, Willie Randolph and on and the Dodgers and the stability they had with their infield of Garvey, Lopes, Say, um, Dusty in the outfield, and just iconic teams. And East meets West, and this is Dodgers, Yankees, Lakers, Celtics, whatever you want to say. It has that kind of feel to it, and I certainly remember those times and those teams very well.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Anthony Reber, go ahead. Sorry.
Hi, Aaron. On the flip side, any disappointment or maybe even relief that there's no Subway series and all that goes along with that?
Oh, I don't know. Not really. That would have been very exciting, and plots and storylines that would have been amazing as well, to play here in the city, against your crosstown rivals. So there would have been neat things about that. But going through it, not really having a preference or anything like that. I never get caught up in that really. Um, just excited to you knew whatever the National League result was. I think you can dream on a pretty awesome storyline and pretty awesome matchup. And now it happens to be us and the Dodgers.
Thank you.
Ron Blum, go ahead.
Hey, Aaron, thanks for doing this. As you look at the personality of this team compared to some of the others, and it seems it's as or more determined, is it a more fun group because of some of the personalities there, or does the success breed that fun?
Yeah, I don't know. Um, I feel like we've had a number of teams here that have been, very fun for me to go through all of it with. Um, I do think we're here because this is our best team, at least at this time of year, um, that we've had. And there's no denying, I feel like culturally speaking, we've had really strong situations pretty much year in and year out. I would say it's as strong as it's ever been. And I think there's no denying, and I've said this a lot, and you hear them talk about it, and I think those of you that cover us witness it, the closeness that these guys have with one another, and that trite playing for one another is palpable with this group, has been all year, has been since day one. Um, these guys love each other, and these guys love doing it for one another. And I always feel like the best team situation you can get into is when you can genuinely say at the end of the year or at any point in the year that not because you desire it, but because this is how you feel is I want it for the guy next to me more than myself. And that exists with this team, I think. And that's powerful.
And also, is the Cole, Rodon, Schmidt kill the order settled apparent because it's there, or are you not finalized it yet?
We haven't finalized that. I can tell you Garrett will pitch game one. Um, and a good chance, like you just said, we'll roll it out like that. But, we're today's a voluntary day and we're just starting to kind of, formulate our plans and things like that. So we'll see.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Brendan, go ahead.
Aaron, regarding Ron's question, are you just like hesitant to commit to anything right now when it comes to rotation because you don't know what's going to pop up? Or is it that, pitching at Yankee Stadium or Dodger Stadium, or are there factors that could come up that could change the rotation from last time?
I guess so. That's why I probably won't say anything right now, just because, we're still kind of basking in the aftermath of getting in and haven't even started a preparation or things like that. So I don't want to speak out of turn right now. That's all.
Gotcha. And regarding being a manager in the World Series, you haven't done this before. And I'm curious if you plan to reach out on anyone about, what it's like or how things change, or if you have done that, or if you think it's going to be any different.
I don't necessarily have any plans to reach out to anyone specifically. I know I've been texting, through the postseason, and he's been around a little bit as Joe Torre. So I'm sure he and I will talk a little bit and communicate throughout the series. But no, I don't have any plans to necessarily reach out to anyone for advice.
Thank you.
Joyce, go ahead.
Aaron, do you expect Nestor to be on the roster?
I think there's a good chance of it. He's scheduled to throw another live tomorrow. So if everything goes well there, I would say there's a decent chance that he could be on the roster. Yes.
And just from playing the Dodgers in June, what stood out the most from that series when you remember it?
Just some tough games. I think we had an extra inning game. I think clearly the buzz that pops up every now and then that we talk about in the regular season series. Certainly it had that when they were here on the weekend. Good tough ball games. I think that might have been the series we were missing Soto, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the games he missed. But I thought just definitely you could feel the buzz of Dodgers Yankees. First time they've been here in a long time. We've gone there a couple times since I've been here, and a similar kind of buzz when we've gone there in the summer. So I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be. I think it's a great matchup, and I think the series we had this summer with them felt like just competitive, heavy, tough games.
Yeah, Martin, go ahead.
Aaron, a few of your guys, especially Stanton, have talked about, the job isn't done until you win this next round. How important is that mentality? I mean, obviously, everyone who gets there wants to win this World Series, but do you feel like because of the history of the team and the expectations that you guys have, that getting here isn't the biggest thing? It's winning it?
I don't know. Maybe the history and the expectations all play in that, but I think it's just the competition. Like we set out at the beginning of the year with the goal of being a world champion, and we that's on our doorstep now. We're at the last series where we get to play for that now. That's the goal. That's our expectation. We understand we've got a great opponent in our way that has the same goal. But we're just looking forward to the competition of it and hopefully getting 4 more wins.
And how did Rizzo come out of the series? No, you've had a couple of days.
Good. He's here today working out. Yeah, he's in a similar spot. Should be good to go. Yep.
Next, Andy Martino. Andy, we can't hear you. Mm-hmm. Call Cuddy. He'll help you out. And we'll come back to you. Laura, go ahead. You're up next.
Aaron, the Dodgers series had some unexpected heroes, especially Tommy Edman, winning the MVP. You guys have had some big contributions from guys like Mark Leiter, from Jake Cousins, maybe guys who didn't get a lot of attention in the regular season. What type of charge does that put in the roster when you can get contributions like that? And what does it say about how complete your team is?
Yeah, I think, look, if you're going to be a championship club, you've got to get those contributions from maybe unexpected places. And, in both of those cases, we didn't break camp with either guy that you mentioned, for example. We got Jake very early in the season. Obviously, we got Mark Leiter at the deadline. But you understand some of the central figures, the Sotos and Judges and G and Glaber that you got to have the production from. But I think to win a championship, you've got to get meaningful contributions from places maybe you didn't expect. And that's not just in the playoffs and in the World Series, but I think that's throughout the year as well. You've got to there's going to be moments in time where, a big guy's struggling or you're a little banged up or beat up in a certain area. And, the requirement of unexpected people to step up or that people would envision unexpected is necessary. And we've had that this year. We've had a number of people be very productive that you wouldn't have necessarily expected, certainly when we broke camp and headed to Houston to open the season.
And do you want to try again?
Any luck now?
Yeah.
We're in.
All right. I think you said, Aaron, a few minutes ago that this is the best team that you've had. Did you mean that strictly from a culture standpoint, like how they gel as a team, or did you mean from a baseball standpoint too?
Yeah, I think from a baseball standpoint, just this time of year, I thought we were very good in 19. I thought we were very good in 22, but at the end, we were beat up. And we really had some key pieces get knocked out, whether it was in the month of September, whether it was in the playoffs. So I just felt like things were coming together for us this year, maybe more so than ever down the stretch and into the playoffs. So far, that's played out for us. I think when you say the togetherness and the culture, again, I think we've had a lot of seasons here where that, in my view, has been very strong. I'd say it's as strong as it's ever been. And that's a testament to how close these guys are and how close they've definitely become a family. And you sense that throughout the entire season, whatever we've gone through, that's been palpable.
You blended a lot of different personalities into this particular culture in that regard. Not that you don't every year, but do you think that guys coming from the team in that way, maybe not blending in as well elsewhere in some cases, did that help the group in some way? Did it give it a personality that was fresh?
Maybe, yeah. And I think the strength of our room, has allowed different people to come in here. And, I think, our leadership and, our captain does a great job of fostering an environment where whether you're coming up from the minor leagues or whether you're coming over from another organization in a trade or a waiver claim or whatever it may be, I think guys feel like they can be themselves and feel part of the team and comfortable in short order. And that's testament to guys like Judge and Stanton and Riz and Garrett who foster an outstanding environment here.
Thanks.
Go to John Schwartz.
Aaron, on Saturday night, you called Soto's at bat and at bat for the ages. I think Yankees fans have been watching and rewatching and studying it nonstop since then. Have you found yourself watching that whole sequence and kind of looking over it and whether finding new things or just marveling at the same things over and over again?
Yeah, I've probably watched the at bat now in full, probably at least a few times. And it is, I stand by that. That's an at bat for the ages right there. A couple of uncomfortable looking swings in there where he just kind of spoiled and stayed alive, kind of fights himself back and finally gets a pitch and does what Juan does with it. We've seen that so many times. This one happened to be to send us to the World Series, but I feel like there's been so many at bats like that this year, like big spot, game on the line, got a pitch to him, and it's like, man, he throws one of those Juan Soto epic at bats on you, and not surprising in that moment that he did it again, and he's just obviously an amazing hitter.
That at bat had so many different. It had the menacing qualities of Juan, and then if you look at the celebration, the joyful parts of it, just. I know we talk so much about him as a baseball player, the person that you're around, and all the different layers to him. Like, how much have you enjoyed that part over this year?
I've loved it. He's one of the things. Start with his love of the game. Like you just get that from him right away. You can tell he loves baseball and he loves everything that goes into that. The preparation for it, the intelligence he has as a hitter, his care about the entire game, but also his ability to come over here as a big star with obviously a lot of fanfare and a lot of expectation and, in his free agent year and where all that, he's really just integrated into the clubhouse in short order, really starting in spring training so well. And he's just, I hate to put it this way sometimes, and I've said this over the years about certain guys, but for being Juan Soto and this huge, like, he's low maintenance, like, I don't have to, like, he's easy to be around. He's a good guy. You can coach him, like, there's been many times this year in a game or whatever where I've said something to him like, hey, can't, and he's not, he takes it and applies it and understands and, cares about all the things you need to be a winning player, not just being a great hitter. Like, he cares about his defense. He cares about running the bases. He cares about being a good teammate and sharing information. And I think he also respects how hard the game is and the grind of the game too. He's been awesome. He really has. I've loved every second of him being here, and hopefully he's here a long time.
We'll take a last one from Chris, and before we do, we'll as we finalize details for the next couple of days, we'll provide information, obviously, to you all who are trying to plan the next 24 or 48 hours. So by end of day, or at least by the time we leave here at some point today or tonight, we'll provide further details the next couple of days. Chris, go ahead.
Hey, Aaron. You mentioned before the closeness of this team. The other day, Clark Schmidt said that he felt that this was the closest locker room that he's been a part of since being with the Yankees. Glaber the other day mentioned that they had a conversation where, like, egos had to be put aside coming into the postseason. Do you feel like just coming off of the disappointment of last year fueled the togetherness of this locker room this season?
I think it's a factor, no question. Again, and I do feel like we've had a closeness throughout the years, even last year. But to say it's at another level this year, I think is absolutely true. And I think on the heels of last year, like, that's part of it. That's part of it. I don't know how much of it, but it's definitely part of it, because I think, especially the guys that have been here, the leadership that have been here, took all that very personally and knew that, we had to have a great season this year. And I think there was maybe on the margins, just a tighter focus, even in the winter, like in the preparation. We saw guys down in Tampa in the month of January, a lot of them working out together. And, with Aaron being down there and kind of fostering that environment, like guys over at Himes all month of January and into February before spring training, not only working out and getting prepared for spring training, but I think fostering those relationships and even some of the new guys coming to the team, like fostering that togetherness and that team bond. I think it started last winter, carried into before spring training and into spring training and beyond. And I think on the heels of last year, at least was an element of that. Not all of it, but an element.